Hello and welcome to this Maritime Domain session as part of buildingSMART International Summit, Marrakesh 2024. Thanks for joining. My name is Yushen and I will be your moderator today. Today's session is titled Advancing openBIM in Maritime Industry, Strategic Directions and Key Projects. The speakers for this session are Haijiang Li, Professor of Cardiff University, Ali Goodhair, Research Associate of Cardiff University, Xi Liu, Researcher of China Communication and Construction Company. This session is scheduled to last 90 minutes, including time for questions at the end. The session is being recorded and will be made available in the reply section of the event as soon as possible. Before I hand over to the speakers, I would like to remind you that this is a hybrid event. For online attendees, your microphone will be muted for the duration of this session. If you wish to make a comment or ask a question, please use the chat box in the control panel. For the attendees here in the room, please keep background noise to a minimum. And if you wish to make a comment or ask a question, please raise your hand and use your microphone. I would also like to bring you attention that buildingSMART is committed to ensuring that participation in the development of standards is unrestricted and the process of their adoption is transparent. And standards that are developed do not favor any particular provider and are open, non-binding, and accessible to all. Please take note to our antitrust code of conduct. Now I would like to hand over to Richard.
Yes, good morning, everybody. My name is Richard Kelly. I'm the Operations Director at buildingSMART International, which means I'm actually a paid staff member of the organization that supports all these other great industries that are working at buildingSMART. Next to me is our associate and colleague, Lu Ji. Lu Ji actually works for the China Communications Construction Company, which is a large state-owned business in China, and for communications, thinking infrastructure. So they do lots of big infrastructure work. And China Communications Construction Company liaise strongly with the University of Cardiff in the UK. And that is why we have Ali Goodhair on the line today from the University of Cardiff, who is collaborating with the Maritime Domain or working on the Maritime Domain Steering Committee, and his colleague, Professor Haijiang Li. Unfortunately, Haijiang can't be with us today. He's in China on business. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Ali. Is that now correct? Okay.
Yes.
Welcome, Ali.
Welcome. Hi, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the Maritime Domain session. So I want to thank everyone of you for joining us today, whether here with us in person or remotely. So it would be fantastic if everyone actually be physically present in the summit, but I'm confident we will still have a productive session today, and we can brainstorm ideas together and to explore new ideas as well for the future of the maritime domain. So we are excited to explore this progress of the maritime domain with you today, especially as this is the first summit after the maritime domain has been established. So over the next 90 minutes, I will give you a quick recap on how it all began, or how the maritime domain came into action. We also will present the final version of the maritime domain charter and roadmap. Also, we will highlight the key milestones achieved while doing those documents, and we also will introduce some draft project plans, such as the sea farming project, which is an exciting project that can be a possible proposal in the maritime domain in the future. And also going me and Lucy to take with you to take a closer look at the immersed tunnel projects, our flagship project for the to start the maritime domain, or the first project proposal in the maritime domain. So this session is an opportunity for everyone to get involved. So whether you are interested in contributing to ongoing projects, proposing new initiatives, or actually just you want to have idea about the maritime domain and its structure. So let's work together to actually do some brainstorming and shape the future of the maritime domain through the openBIM workflow. So let's take a step back and look at the the history of the maritime domain and how it came into action. So the ocean, as we know, covers 70% of the Earth's surface. So it is a large ecosystem of the planet, but it still remains unused or untapped. So we're still in the process of understanding how we're going to use this resources. So we need to understand that the ocean is not just for a source of a human life, but also a critical platform for future global development. So before we had the maritime domain, our focus was mainly on the IFC port and waterway, as we saw under the infrastructure domain. But as new challenges came into life, and especially when it's related to the ocean resources, and we realized that we need some dedicated domain actually to address these evolving needs. So this is what actually sparked the idea of the maritime domain, and we'll look how it's all started in a second. But of course, we are not just focusing on addressing the immediate needs, but also we're looking at the future. So we're setting the stage for a long-term vision and innovation. Of course, one of the core aspects of our focus on the maritime domain is how we can leverage the openBIM workflow or openBIM standards. So we want that environment to be open, transparent, and also interpretable between all the data. So we're trying to find that workflow and see how we can apply it in the maritime domain to have a better maritime engineering. So let's have a look how it's all started. So we have one of the key initiator is China Communication Construction Company, CCCC. Most of you know, and it's a global leader in the maritime domain engineering. And as you see, it was ranked number 3 in top 250 international contractor list, and which is actually showing how their expertise in this area. So CCC has extensive expertise in harbor construction, as we saw in IFC Port and Waterway, and they are actually moving further and shifting some of their focus toward the offshore structure, such as wind turbines, sea farming, also water infrastructure projects. So they are trying to see how we can leverage these resources from the maritime industry, or from what we call it the blue economy. And as we will see later in this session, they are heavily involved in our flagship project, the Immerse Tunnel project. Okay, so it's all began in the Rome summit. So the initial conversation started in the Rome summit. This moment, we decided to actually create a dedicated domain for the maritime engineering. But of course, because during COVID, it's and that period of stoppage, we needed additional like 2 years, almost 2 years, to actually able to come together as a community and move this initial idea forward. So, but of course, during this time, we work closely with key partners like Highway Planning and Design Institute, HPDI. Luigi also is from CCC, and Luigi is part of that organization, and also Royal Haskoning. They received critical feedback at that time from Chris Miller and also Michel from the infrastructure domain. So thank you for the input, and of course we won't forget the support from buildingSMART during that time. So there was a big support from Richard. So thank you. And after the Rome summit, we continue our journey to Beijing. So here we're actually Clive and Aiden visited from buildingSMART visited China and visited the CCC headquarters. And in August, I think August 2023, we reached a significant point when we signed the Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) between buildingSMART and CCC. So this is actually solidify the partnership and also make the official start for a major initiative in the maritime domain. So and we moved further at Valencia Summit, the last summit, and in that summit it was a bit different. Now we have the agreements, but we need to actually finalize the setting for this domain so we can bring it to action. So after several feedbacks from these, we actually achieved the formal establishment of maritime domain. So this was a significant step. So now the maritime domain stands along other domains such as the infrastructure domain, the building domains, and the railway domains. And of course, we know like in the infrastructure domain, there is IFC tunnel project. So that's also one of the key actually to understand the difference between IFC tunnel and IFC Minus tunnel and what's actually the similarity. And so there's a lot of cross-domain link as well. So this is one of the things we need also to mention them clearly in our vision and goals and how these cross domains can be aligned together. And of course, we follow the buildingSMART guideline closely. So as we know, the maritime domain is managed by a steering committee to guide the progress, and the steering committee will consist of up to 10 representatives, either from BSI member organization or BSI chapters, and each organization is encouraged to have two committee members who will be appointed for a 4 years term. So this structure allows us to bring together a diverse group of expertise, so that can collaborate together to make a mutual decision. So we actively invite key players from the industry to join us as a part of this initiative. So everyone is welcomed, and of course, if you're interested, you can just approach us, and we can direct you to the right person. And so just like other domains, so our main goal or the overarching goal is digitalization. So what does that mean for the maritime domain? So it's more like leveraging openBIM principle to bring collaboration, interoperability, and all together to form that way, collaborative way of working. So we focus on key aspects such as collaboration, quality control, data management, and global consensus. So, but how we so these goals are not only done by or responsible of just one entity, but it's a collective effort. So we as a community need actually build that foundation for the future of the maritime domain. So but how do we achieve these ambitious goals? So we have, you know, how they fit into the maritime domain, but how are we going to achieve this ambitious goals? So the answer lies in following the buildingSMART approach or buildingSMART methodology. So we are addressing the critical need of the industry. So whether it's information requirement, information exchange, or digital technologies. So our focus is to make sure like we respond to the needs of the end user. So as we know, buildingSMART is a demand driven, and also how to apply the openBIM standards like IFC, IDM, BSSD, so we ensure that our workflow integrate seamlessly with other domains. And of course, we ensure that tools like BSDD are supported to be published in the platforms and softwares. And so moving to show some of the potential partners in the maritime domain. So we have SINTEF. So SINTEF is a leading research organization They specialize in maritime sea farming systems and digital tools. So they actually they have what make their work unique is they have a digital how to how they the work is how they actually using digital platform to seamlessly connect these subsystems, so creating that approach to sea farming. So we believe that Syntef, they are interested in joining us, and we will have several discussion with them, and we're trying to see how we can align their work with our work. There's a great potential of collaboration in the future. Another potential partner is Xlink. So Xlink is they specialize in transferring power from offshore wind turbine to land-based grids using undersea cables. So this is one of the points that will be mentioned later in our charter. So this is one of the research or one of the goals in the maritime domain. So their work is actually aligns with our vision, and it's quite important to actually standardize that when it comes to offshore structure and undersea cables, because one change can actually affect the entire system. So Xlink comes if they come on board, they can actually propose a cable related use cases, which can actually help us to understand this part and integrate it into our future. So this is one of the potential partners.
Is the defining challenge of our time. As extreme temperatures and
this is some self-explanatory, I'll say, video. I will just play it for now.
intensify.
Please let me know if it's actually clear or you can hear the sound.
We urgently need to cut emissions from homes, travel, and industry. Increasing electrification is a big part of the solution, but our electricity will only be green if we rapidly grow new sources of affordable, reliable, renewable power. According to the Climate Change Committee, the UK will need a zero-carbon electricity network by 2035 to achieve the 6th carbon budget, to be on track for a net zero economy by 2050. Xlinks exists to capture the power of nature to generate a near-constant, low-cost, clean energy supply and connect it to the point of consumption in real time. By generating solar and wind energy in Morocco and connecting it to Britain with proven HVDC technology, Xlinks can provide 3.6 gigawatts of reliable, renewable energy for an average of over 20 hours per day. A new solar, wind and battery storage facility will take advantage of the region's high solar intensity and convection current winds. An area covering 1,500 square kilometers will be capable of generating up to 10.5 gigawatts of zero-carbon electricity. Using the latest technology, 4 3,800-kilometer subsea cables will provide a dedicated source of power that secures Britain's energy supply. With an agreement in place with National Grid for 2 1.8 gigawatt connections in Devon, Xlinks can produce low-cost, clean power to over 7 million British homes before the end of the decade, meeting 8% of Britain's electricity needs. Crucially, Xlinks does not require any subsidy from the UK government and will provide firm and flexible baseload energy at half the cost of nuclear. Decarbonising the UK power sector by 2035 is critical if we are to meet our carbon reduction commitments. Xlinks can accelerate the path to net zero while decreasing the cost of the transition. Offshore wind is a crucial part of a greener grid, but wind is vulnerable due to extreme fluctuations in output week to week. When the wind doesn't blow, the UK's reliance on carbon-intensive energy or expensive nuclear increases. While nuclear is an important element in the UK's energy strategy, it remains expensive and requires very long lead times. All this volatility means electricity market prices have reached historic highs. In the meantime, costs for electricity from solar continues to fall. According to the International Energy Association, electricity from utility-scale solar photovoltaics fell 85% between 2010 and 2020. Morocco has become a world leader in the fight against climate change by implementing very ambitious targets, including one that will see 52% of its power capacity come from renewable energy by 2030. Moroccan global horizontal irradiance is 20% greater than Spain, highest GHI in EU, and more than twice that of the UK. High solar intensity, 34% solar load versus 11% in UK, and wind resource, 52% wind load versus 31% in UK. Morocco's climate, geography, stability, proven experience in renewable projects and local support pave the way for the country to become an international hub for price-competitive and carbon-free energy. X-Links can provide predictable, clean energy the UK requires to get to net zero. A new, clean energy source, proven technology requiring no subsidy, reliable, flexible, baseload energy. X-Links, capturing and connecting the power of nature.
Yeah, so as we saw, is that they have quite well projects connecting Morocco and UK, and there's a great potential if they come abroad on board. I think they can provide a lot of use cases to the offshore structures, which is the main goal for or one of the main goals of the maritime domain. So we already have a few members actively involved in the maritime domain, so including CCCC, Royal Haskoning, so they are already contributing to the direction of development of this domain. So, but however, to actually have that collective expertise and we have a better outcomes, we're always seeking further participation or participants. So from whoever interested in this area. So your involvement is important to actually shape that future of this domain and also drive our goals forward. So please get in touch and we can discuss how you can contribute to this domain. So I left the contact here, and you can reach Haijang or Richard or whatever approach you find it easier for you, and we can direct you to the right person. So the next step of the maritime domain, as I mentioned, we already established the main settings for the maritime domain, but now it comes into how we're going to document that vision. So this is where comes the charter and the roadmap. So to provide that clear vision, mission for the community who are interested in contributing to this domain. So we started with the domain charter. So this document is quite necessary to actually lay down our vision, mission, and strategic direction we need to address to these unique challenges in the maritime domain. So as we know, achieving this transformation is not a small task. This is why we need the charter actually to serve as a guide toward these goals. So well, of course, we follow the buildingSMART structure when it comes to create these charters and even the roadmap. So this charter wasn't developed in isolation. So it was a collaborative effort from researchers, industry, key partners, and domain experts. So we tried to put all this feedback in this document and to actually bring that vision into life. So we began the drafting in February 2024, and over the next few months we did a lot of iterations to gather feedbacks and also refine this document to actually reflect our vision and mission. And by August 2024 we released the first version of this charter. So this charter will be available for you to review on buildingSMART website. So please do so. And of course, this was after several iteration and revision from the buildingSMART steering committee. So I would like to take a moment to actually thank the people who are contributors. So thankful Clive and Richard for your thorough feedback when it comes to these documents, and special thanks to Yusheng as well, because he helped to support this all the document to be officially published on buildingSMART website. And finally, there's a huge thanks to everyone contributors. If I didn't mention any names, but thanks for everyone who actually put the effort to lay this foundation for this domain. And as we mentioned, the maritime domain is focused on to activate the blue economy, or to further develop the blue economy. We have marked several key area where, as you see in red, which can be as stage 1 for the developments in the maritime domain, such as offshore floating structure, a MERS tunnel, which is the first proposal, and offshore wind turbine, marine farms, which is sea farming. We also is potential projects. So we choose those as a starting point because we think they are closer related to the maritime domain. So, but of course, while we focus, we envision a lot of more projects gonna come. So this is where we need your input to actually help us to create a new ideas and also a new proposals that you think they can fit under the maritime domain. So we're actively welcoming participation, either from buildingSMART community or any other stakeholder. That's moving next to the next stage. So we created the charter. The charter is ready. Now we need to extend that to actually have a more thorough, detailed roadmap for the next 2 or 3 years for this domain. So the primary focus of this roadmap is to actually help the maritime domain steering committee to in setting priorities, manage the activities, and also ensure there's a continuous progress and everything is aligned with the open BIM mission, or buildingSMART vision. So it is important to put now that is a live document. So we always will have this input coming back and forth from the industry or from anyone who would like to contribute. And after reviewing it and getting that industry needs and requirement as well, we can actually update it and release another version of this roadmap. So you can see actually after the summit, you can see this roadmap will be available on buildingSMART website. So please, any feedback, that will be grateful, and we can actually add your feedback to this documents in the future. And so as you see, there's a different streamlines and or work streams in this roadmap. So everyone is for saving something, and you see there's over the next 3 to 5 years, there's the mission is actually to implement openBIM workflow in the maritime domain, or align it with the maritime domain. So we have, for example, here the draft project plan for the MERS tunnel. This is one of the projects that we'll see in the next few slides, and also it will help us to start actually to see how we can implement the open BIM standards in the maritime domain. So actually it will be a starting point for us. Potential projects. Another potential project that comes and is from CCC, as I mentioned, they focusing on offshore structure. So is a larger scale farming project in China, located in Dandong City, if I pronounce it right, is northeast China, and is covering 94 square kilometers, and is fully invested, constructed, and operated by CCC. So they invested around 660 millions euros in this project. So they planning to enhance the marine biodiversity by adding these types of reefs and artificial fish sea reef area, and also including different technology. I see here that along the floating breakwater system. So there's a lot of things and interesting things that can be explored, and all they fit under the maritime domain. But of course, everything when it comes to if you have any projects or you want to propose any projects, you can start with your draft project plan, and that this will be reviewed by the maritime domain steering committee, and if aligns with the vision and the mission, we can either see if it's actually fit under this domain. So it's that decision will be made later. So this is why we release the charter and roadmaps for you guys to actually have a look, see if your projects align with this visions and mission, and if they fit this domain within the buildingSMART. Because there's a lot of other domains. So I will take a few minutes here to actually let's try to see some feedback. If you can help me to answer these few questions, and so if you can actually scan this barcode, will take you to Mentometer, and we'll have few questions. We can actually take it as a small break, but at the same time try to collect some feedback. So if you are online or if you are physically there, if you can just scan this code, and let's have a 5 minutes a break while answering. Is active break, so we're going to answer this questions while taking the break. As I said, there's the Maritime Domain Charter is available. You'll see, and also the roadmap is also available. So for you to review, you can actually have a look after this session or in the future.
Of the entities within the sector. So yeah, well done, Ali. So these are good documents, and I would recommend that everybody takes the opportunity to read them.
Yeah, I think let's see if we get some people online. If not, after 5 minutes, we can actually move on.
I'm just suggesting that we put the slide back up that shows the potential projects that the domain is going to be addressing.
This one?
Is that possible?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this one?
No, I meant the matrix one. One more, two more. That one.
Yeah.
That one. That one. Yeah.
Okay.
So the question to the audience has been, is anybody interested in these particular topics within your industry? And are there any other topics you think the maritime domain should be addressing?
It's open discussion, so whatever feedback will be actually good to discuss. So it's not necessary to, there's no judgment.
I was interested in that undersea cable network. What was it, 3,400 kilometers? I mean, it's such an obvious idea, but what I would have assumed would be that there was, significant transmission losses over that distance. I guess, though, if the power is being generated by renewables, then transmission losses probably don't make that much difference, or they're not quite so crucial, I should say. And I suppose if it was a thermal power station that's only 33% efficient to start with, and then you're getting transmission losses on top, then that wouldn't be worth it. But if the energy's free, then I guess it's okay.
Got some for this, the second question, we have a few answers. We have flood protection, coastal protection, subsea cables, harbors, submerged tunnels. Submerged tunnels and immersed tunnels, they're quite a lot thing coming around the tunnel projects, which is that we'll explore next. And see, I think that is a bit more detailed, so I will skip this one and see how and what area would you like to contribute in the maritime domain? So let's see if it's actually what expertise you think, or which area is actually more interested in.
I suppose for people in the room that aren't so familiar with the buildingSMART standards and services, just a a very brief high-level explanation. If you've got requirements in your industry that for things that you would like to see digitalized, you specify those requirements in human form. We write things down, don't we, when we talk. The IDS standard is the way of converting those requirements into machine interpretable, computer interpretable requirements, and that then allows it to be addressed through the other core standards of buildingSMART. What we are asking the domains to focus on these days is capturing those requirements, converting them to machine interpretable form through the IDS standard, and then creating a library of entities. And that library of entities would go into the buildingSMART data dictionary. And because the buildingSMART data dictionary is linked to the core IFC schema, which has got predefined properties and classes in there, and software vendors are linking their software to IFC, that means that your entities actually end up in interoperable software. So you then get the benefit of being able to use that information on your real projects or in your real operations using multiple software sources, because different suppliers, different applications use different softwares. So it's about the standardization of the format for you to be able to get the best access to your information that you need. But Shane would give you a much more coherent explanation than that, and I might ask him to do that shortly. Any responses so far to this one?
We got a question from Daniel Peel. So he said, I can put it actually on put it here for you guys. Can we plug the ports and waterway work in the infra domain?
Yeah, I'll answer.
You mentioned Harper's.
I'm happy to answer that. The domains are just vehicles. The destination will be the same. So the infra domain has a steering committee of people from the infrastructure industry. The maritime domain will have a steering committee of people from the maritime industry. There is huge crossover, of course there is. The people on each committee could easily sit on each other's committee. What the domain does is oversees the program plan for the next few years and creates the program plan. The projects that get delivered could sit easily under one domain or another, and we do a lot of inter-domain collaboration. For example, the IFC 4.3 standard was created through two domains, multiple projects, two domains, one program, and the program was the IFC 4.3. So the short answer is yes, we can do that.
And we can see this example is actually in the two different projects. So we have the IFC tunnel and IFC immersed tunnel. That's the two projects. There will be a lot of cross between the two domains. You can see them both. They're actually in different domains, but they're actually serving the same purpose. We're trying to reach the same goal at the end. And same thing for the airport and the building domain. So they have some entities that can be, or properties that actually overlapped, but that's where they are in two different domains, but they still trying to reach the same goal. So we saw this before in other projects. So for IFC Harbor it can be it is currently is in the infrastructure domain, but of course we can actually learn from that, and we can see how we can leverage this also under the maritime domain.
Yeah, well said.
And that's actually the last question before we go back. Or we can skip this one, is just to see what's the expertise of the people around and how they can actually contribute in this domain in the future.
Okay, so promotion advocacy is often a difficult thing to do, because we have to be able to explain to the executives in our own organizations the benefit of applying openBIM workflows. And it's not something that's easy to say in one elevator ride. So people who are really good at this, who are prepared to explain the benefits of digitalization of the maritime economy to people who have control over the money and where they're going to invest it, is a really important and useful skill. Nick, you have your hand up. We have a question from the audience. Nick Nisbet. Just 1 second. I think we might have a roving mic. Then Ali will be able to hear as well, you see. Or failing that, Nick, I'll ask you to come to the front and stoop. There we go.
Thank you. Just thinking about the advocacy thing, and it's something that I'll be saying to the building and infra rooms later today. Do we need to have a focus on the client requirements, the real requirements, and making sure that they are integrated into our projects, so that rather than just describing solutions, we also model and check that we're delivering the capacity and the performance of whatever facilities we're modeling. And I think that would help get the message into the boardroom.
In my view, absolutely yes. How we do that is another matter, isn't it? What do other people think? Okay, so we'll leave that there for now, but let's just see how the Mentimeter is going on this particular question. Okay, that's nice. Yasheng, is the intention to actually capture people's names at the end? Because for this particular one, I think we'd like to know who those people are. Okay. Well, Ali can see who they are. Ah, I didn't realize that. Do you still hear us, Ali?
Yeah. I don't think as you can see the names. Okay, I think that's the end of this Mentimeter thing. So if we go back actually to continue our discussion. So the next one we have the immersed tunnel. So this immersed tunnel project, we'll take this opportunity to provide some updates. So we're still on the draft project plan stage, but we made some progress when it comes to that, working with our partner HPDI, and also with Royal Haskoning, who show also great interest in this project. So I want to take a moment to acknowledge the expertise of Roy Van Hatten and Renee Zilstra from our Haskoning Immersed Tunnel Design and Consultancy. So they actually, we had a few meetings or pretty much before the summits, but we're going to continue this discussion after the summits, so we can have this expertise when it comes to immersed tunnel. So this is more, I think Richard's already explained this, so I might skip this. This is the way of actually creating the standards, and so we create the core industry requirements, create a candidate standard, then we assist, then we once approve the standard into the final stage, and we prepare for ISO publication. So but we see there's a engaging from the software vendors, and usually in the late stage in the process, which can actually cause implementation delays. Sometimes the availability of solution to the community will be at a later stage. So this process is still happening today, but in more evolved way, I would say. So this is what comes to this diagram that was reproduced from Richard. So if you see here, we have two ways. So we have this is how a domain activity interact with the IFC schema, and the opportunity for the domains to actually propose improvements. If you see, there's two different directions. So we have in a domain project, so you can define or identify additional properties that are not available in the current IFC schema, and then these properties can actually show open. So if you these additional properties, and then you add through the buildingSMART data dictionary, which is directly linked to the IFC schema. So this is requirement, ensure that it's actually interoperable with the software, because they already implemented the IFC schema, and they are compatible with it, so they can actually keep that loop of work. So even when the IFC schema is updated to a new version, say for example IFC 4.4, not sure about IFC 5, so this flow remains consistent, and the domain requirement will integrate smoothly across these versions of the schema. So, but sometimes when we define these requirements, we have when we do our analysis, requirement analysis gap, so we can find there's a certain entity do not exist in the predefined IFC schema. So in this case, where can identify these gaps, we trigger what we call a strategic project to improve the IFC schema, and this is led by the technical leadership team of buildingSMART to create the necessary properties and integrated to the IFC schema. So this new working methods allow much greater flexibility to add domain requirements into the IFC schema, whether through the BSDD or the strategic project. We ensure that the industry needs are met, and that the IFC schema align with the real-time demands or requirements of the industry. So the next slide, we show here some of the projects under like the Hong Kong, Zhuhai, Macau link. This is one of the case studies we consider in the immersed tunnel projects. So you can see the complexity of such projects, and the more these projects are actually consider underwater construction. So this is a lot of things that can actually have not been addressed in the IFC tunnel, for example. So this is where we need to do some requirement analysis or comparison between IFC tunnel conceptual model and the proposed model for the immersed tunnel. And if we look at this show that the underwater construction, so there's a lot of heavy machines that actually is all offshore, and these advanced systems. So we need actually to understand what things are entities or properties they can be included, or this is where we need to do our taxonomy and see all this relationship between all these entities. So we are not focusing only on the design. We can go further and focus on the construction stage as well. But that's also depends on the use cases we will have and how we can align them. In this project, we're referring to Monaco offshore extension, which is what were provided by Michel. So we can I think we have self-explanatory for this. So if we go to this video.
For Monaco's Seaside Urban Extension project, Bouygues Travaux Publics has developed unparalleled construction methods to minimize site impact on the environment. Enabling 6 hectares to be reclaimed, the infrastructure is, for the main part, built from the sea. It is made up of reclamation ground surrounded by a concrete caisson belt placed on an underwater backfill. It can accommodate a small port. As early as 2014, with its partners Tractebel, Andromède Oceanology, and DHI, the consortium carried out an impact study to pinpoint the site's environmental challenges and integrate them into the project's core conception and execution methods. Even before the start of works, the first environmental actions are implemented. 47 large noble pen shells are moved to the Lavrotto Marine Reserve. Continuous turbidity monitoring devices and 2 anti-turbidity underwater screens are set up around the site. Finally, a noise protection screen is built along the shoreline. Dredging operations will then begin. Silt is extracted using an excavator with a watertight ecological grab to avoid suspending material. The first riprap layer of the Portier dike is then removed to create nearby ecological artificial reefs. To keep turbidity levels down, a dredge sucks out sediment without discharging water. This sediment is taken to a deposit location, specially chosen to respect fauna and flora at a depth of 200 meters. Backfilling can then begin on the exposed rocky floor. Quarry-prepared materials are stored and washed in the port of Toulon. They are loaded onto a dedicated ship and delivered to Monaco after a 10-hour sea journey.
Okay, so I played 2 minutes of this video. It's quite a long video, so I'll leave the link for you guys actually to have a look, so we won't be running out of time in this session. So all these drawing from these from the experience and the use cases, we aim to combine all the best practices actually and lesson learned to actually to contribute to the development of openBIM. This project meant to actually amend the IFC schema for Mesh Tunnel, describing the workflow I actually showed, and the diagram was reproduced from Richard using BSDD and also IDS to improve data consistency and collaboration across teams, and also to enhance the decision making, and also to provide a future recommendation for IFC extension, or thus will be decided later on by the technical leadership team of buildingSMART. So these are the work packages. So we have several work packages. As we see, we can start with the requirement analysis, where we're actually going to define our process maps when it comes to Mesh Tunnel, the use cases, and that will help us to put our taxonomy. And we need to categorize all this relationship, and also, but of course, I think within this work package 1 and 2, we need to try to do some analysis when it comes to IFC tunnel, so we can actually compare these two conceptual models, and we don't need to have overlap. And but based on W1 and WP2, we are proposing enhancement, as I mentioned, to IFC 4.3 schema to meet the industry requirements for a Mesh Tunnel. Also, we're going to explore the creating few IDS, I think, and hopefully, if we have time for this project, we might do some UCM or use case management exercise, or some examples that can help for future people who are actually trying to implement this workflow. And the rest of the packages are more focused on documentation and developments, and also some gathering the feedback. So I think that's all from my side. I will pass it now to my colleague, Luigi. If you want to start your slide.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Ali, for your thorough introduction for our domain and project, and hopefully our audience in the room have a general understanding about our domain and what we are doing now. And a bit more about the project and domain is we published the domain last year, so it's relatively a new domain. And our first project is this eMOS tunnel project. So there are still lots of possibilities and potential in the domain and project. So we also want to reach more participators, and the companies can join us to hand in hand to create a greater domain and make more projects. And a bit more for the companies currently running the domain is CCCC is my company, and we have been done several mega infrastructure projects in China. For example, Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge and Shenzhen Link. For these two projects, they are really big eMOS tunnel. We have been designed and built there. So we really want to bring our engineering experiences to buildingSMART, and can bring the engineering practices to finalize FC standard. And actually, yesterday I talked to the colleagues from Royal Haskoning in Holland, and they told me that a biggest advantage about creating FC is to make a uniform language about everything. For example, if we collaborate internationally about a project, that everybody are talking on same thing. So within this standard language, we're gonna have a better and smooth collaboration internationally. A bit more for me is my name is Lucy. I'm from CCCC. I'm basically a technical guy. I graduated from Aalto University in Finland, and so so really want to have more interactions and to talk to our audiences. And then let's dive more deeper to the project. Since we have been run the domain for 1 year, and the project we have been making it for more than 6 months. And now the first step is to do the requirement analysis, which is always the first step about starting an FC project. Sorry. All right. Okay. And currently we firstly to analyze the structure about the eMOS tunnel. Since there are really several types about the eMOS tunnel, so we pick a general one, and to split the general structures into 12 segments. For example, the main structures and the joint to connecting the structures, also the waterproofing, anti-corrosion proofing. Also, we have identify the temporary outfittings. So these are the 4 main area we want to focus in the first stage. And there are still more segments from the eMOS tunnel that we want to accomplish them later. So that's the first step we have done. And next is okay. And after we analyze the breakdown structure about the eMOS tunnel, we want to extract more information from the whole design process about the eMOS tunnel. So we first to create a template about how we can make a standard design process and use cases. So with the help from Cardiff University, we have created this template that we deliver this template to our designers, and the designers can follow this template to create their process map and to extract the informations between these different disciplines and different steps. And according to this requirement analysis template, this is the template, and under these templates we map the first requirement analysis about the immersive tunnel general design, because the design process have different levels and different hierarchies. So the first one is we make the overall design process and create the use case maps, and later we will dive deeper and to map more detailed design processes. And another next step is once some requirement analysis is fixed and done, we will go to the working package 2, which is the BIM Unified Data Structure Research and Development. So that's our next step. Also, in our project, we have a design team behind us. Also, we have a development team to supporting the whole project. Because the FC development process is really long, maybe 3 or 5 years. So in order to catch the most cutting edge technology, we also make a use case innovation in our project. So we choose a very common scenario in our project, which is pile calculation, because pile is not only included in tunnel, also in buildings, bridges. The piles are everywhere. So we choose this generic scenario, and because this scenario is really small, so we want to make innovation inside this. So we first define the pile calculation process is firstly from geological exploration, and then to pile general arrangement, and finally we will go to pile calculation. So it's a really simple and standard use case. But the problem our company facing is there are dedicated team to doing to do each of them, but each of them cannot directly connect it because there's no a communication file or communication data formats. So that's the problem we face. So according to this, we first to analyze the data exchange requirements from both of them. For example, the pile, and the geological bore, we extract the information from them. And during this process, we instantly to collaborate with our designers in order to make those data can reflect the reality. So that's the data exchange part. And then, because buildingSMART have the BSDD service, is really great. But before that, we create a online platform by our own in order to serve the dictionaries. So we can store the data exchange informations into this online dictionary that can make the online dictionary to be used for everyone. Once we have the data exchange, we would like to implement the whole scenario by our softwares. So then it comes to the storage, because as we know that FC is a physical FC file is a physical storage about information. But one problem of it is FC file is more for a big scenario exchange. It's not very friendly for some small exchange. So there, so according to this, we store our information into the database. Simply to explain is we store the entity information and the relationship entity informations in the database. And once we have data exchange and storage, and we want to connect the database with our user front-end software. And the core part is how we can connect the database with the software. So then a concept of FC-JSON comes. Because we found out there are some open source information in GitHub for FC-JSON. So we learn some core part from FC-JSON and create our own innovation. So we interpret the FC file information to JSON interpreted information to make the connection between the database and the software. So the final result is the data stream help us to do 8 times data exchange. And there are 3 softwares are happening along this data stream. We have the geology software, design software, and pile calculation software. And each software is connecting to the database via this JSON format. And the JSON format is according to the FC philosophy. And so that's our first try to make a fully data communication in this pile calculation use case. But one problem we found is it's still the topic that how we can balance the generic and efficiency, because FC is more generic and neutral, but for design team they want to have everything more efficiency. So if we convert the generic one to specific one, it still take us a lot of time. So I think there's still a long way to go to balance the efficiency and the generic. Okay, so that's the latest developments about our project and innovation for a really small use case. And I think we will keep going to make more innovation. I think next, I think I will hand the microphone to Ali again.
Yes. Let me. Do I need to share my screen, or is this all right to see, Yusheng?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
You can just talk.
Okay. So yeah. So of course, as I mentioned earlier, for the maritime domain, so that was a call for participant at the domain level, and also we have a call for participant for the immersed tunnel project. So it's more a project level. So if you are actually can contribute or you are interested in this project, we have a call for participation that will be available on buildingSMART websites. So there are different type of contributions. So you can contribute project contribution or financial sponsorship. So that's thing I put it there just for you to have a look, and please get in touch if you are interested in the immersed tunnel projects. We'll have a lot of use cases in the future, so we need your feedback, and also we need your expertise as well when it comes to this. So there's several different type of contribution you can contribute to this project. Can you go to the next slide? And we have a survey. So if you are interested, you can scan this code, and it's a few questions. It might take you 10 to 15 minutes, but I hope everyone actually can fill this survey. Do you want to say anything, Yusheng, about how the survey will be available? Yeah, Yusheng just shared the link, so that's the link to take you straight to the survey.
Yeah, for online participants to get the link of the survey in the chat, you can fill it later. If in the room you get the QR code, if you can scan, you can fill out the survey later. It's also.
Yeah, so I think we'll just stay on this slide and open a discussion. Is similar to the last slide. So we might just stay on the survey one. So for everyone who wants to scan that barcode, and we can take any questions when it comes to the MERS tunnel or anything related to the maritime domain. Please ask.
Okay, any questions from anybody in the room? Yes, there is. Yashung, could you bring the microphone over? Question in the room, Ali. And could you introduce yourself as well, please? Thank you.
Okay, my name is Gao. I'm also from CCCC, the same company with Mr. Liu.
I think so. Is it on, Yashung? Is it coming through? Yes, yes,
yeah, okay.
Okay, Mr.
So,
Gao, thank you.
Okay, I'm also working on for the IFC, the updating for the port and waterway. I mean, for this part of works. Oh, okay. For this part of works, and in my understanding, for now, there are several domains. One of the domains is already named the port and waterway domains. There's no maritime domain, I think, at this time. It will be changed the name.
The ports and waterways was a project that was delivered within the infrastructure domain. So ports and waterways captured requirements for ports and waterways, and it incorporated those requirements into the predefined classes of IFC, and therefore it became embedded within the IFC 4.3 program, IFC 4.3 schema. There is a second proposal for doing more work on ports and waterways, which your company have put forward. At the moment, that is residing, it is resting in the infrastructure domain, and we wish to deliver that project. It doesn't really matter whether it's delivered in the infrastructure domain or the maritime domain, as long as the work gets done. Yeah.
Okay, and there's because in Mr. Ali
Yeah.
showed in his slide, in the maritime domain there will be something like the sea walls or the dam, something like that, and this part of works is also in the port and waterway sectors. I mean, so it will be.
Yeah, it is. It's the sea walls would be a project delivered within the maritime domain, but you're right in that sea walls obviously are part of a port. Yeah, obviously there's.
Okay, yeah. I think these are all the proposal, or the one is more like we are giving some idea about the area that might be incoming potential, what we called it in the past, activity proposal. So it's not necessary to fit the maritime domain vision and mission. So we need to actually you write the proposal, or what we call it now draft project plan, and your project your draft will be reviewed by the domain, and we'll see if it's actually fit under this domain. So if it's not aligned with the maritime domain and it's fits under the infrastructure domain, that's what we will give it as a recommendation for you. So it's not always. So this is more like suggestions. That's what we need actually, your feedback when it comes to what type of projects. That's one of the questions I ask that can go under the maritime domain, because we need to actually keep updating this documents, the charter or the roadmap, to actually fit a bigger vision or a bigger picture.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. So I just want to make sure no one will do the repeat works. Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely, because when we do our analysis, we want to make sure actually we can get use from other domains, previous development, so we don't need actually to repeat other people's work just in a new project. That's one of the things to look across domains and across project as well. So different levels we need actually to consider when we build these documents, and also when we conducting any project.
Yes, indeed. And Mr. Gao, thank you for your question. I understand your concern. The other aspect of our process is that any project plan that's put forward is reviewed by the domain steering committee, but it's also reviewed by a central program management office. And that program management office would then see, oh, this project is the same as this project, and therefore one of those projects would be stopped or the projects would be combined. And that's how we managed to operate the program so that domains can collaborate on certain projects. I gave the example earlier of the railway domain and the infrastructure domain collaborated on the production of IFC 4.3 through multiple projects. And that's because we've got this central governance body that is able to oversee what is going on in all the domains. Okay, but it's a really good question. Thank you. Any other questions from the floor? Yes, one more, please. And if you could just introduce yourself to Ali, that'd be great.
Hey, good morning. My name is Roy van Hattem from Royal Haskoning DHV, or Tech Engineering Consultant. So my name was on the slides. I was wondering, in the last buildingSMART Summit in Valencia, I think, there was also Sund and Balt from the Fehmarn Belt Fixed Link in Denmark. And I think they're really embracing the buildingSMART vision, what we have. I think it's good that we can make a connection between a client and our immersed tunnel project. So I don't know if people from Sund and Balt are here in Morocco, or that somebody knows the connection, who those people are. So I think it should be nice if we lay a connection between the immersed tunnel project and them to give the boost to this project.
Yes, buildingSMART International has a good working relationship with the Sund and Belt project team. We've been doing an accelerated project with them to help them, support them on a one-to-one basis to apply openBIM workflows into their mega project. And this is a project, isn't it, that's stretching all the way from Denmark through to Sweden and Germany. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's sorry. Yeah. Just Denmark and Germany, is it? Okay, but it links into the wider network. So yeah, it's very, very much the. One second. Let's get a microphone to you so Ali can hear. Sorry.
Yeah, but there's a bridge to Sweden, so it's possible to drive with trains and cars and trucks from Sweden to Central Europe without having to go on a boat.
Yeah, indeed. And it's very similar, actually. This mega project is very similar to the mega projects that we're seeing in China, Zhongshan and the Macau Bridge. So.
There is another one, I think, connecting Denmark to Sweden, which is Copenhagen, I think, to Gothenburg or something. I'm not sure actually the name of that immersed tunnel as well.
So yes, we are in contact with them, to answer your first question.
Yeah.
And actually, Ali, we need to persuade them to come onto the steering committee. I'll talk to Christina Hivid, who's works on audio.
We'll have further discussions with them and maybe arrange a few meetings as well, if possible.
Okay, we have a few minutes to go before break time. Any more questions from the floor? Okay, not at this time. So, I mean, folks, we've had a really clear presentation. I think it's obvious that this current team on the maritime domain is highly professional, very technically capable, really well organized and very articulate. I do congratulate them for the work they've done, the presentation they've just given, and also the documents that they've prepared. They've really understood both the industry and the governance of this buildingSMART community. So I would encourage you, if you are interested, reach out, come and talk to us. Get involved. If you've got requirements in your industry that require the maritime domain to help you resolve them, then please get involved. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for attending today, and we look forward to seeing you in other sessions in the summit. Thank you.